Hi, my name is Katie Nunninger, and I am a student in Colorado Christian University's online College of Adult Graduate Studies program. The purpose of this presentation is to identify an issue I see in our nation today and how that issue has stemmed through the educational system and now is affecting every facet of societal culture. Not only will I present the issue, but my hope is to convey some practical steps to combat the issue present in this presentation. Martin Luther King Jr. famously spoke, "I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." King's dream of character being the standard by which to evaluate and identify a person is not his alone. Since the removal of the Bible and prayer from our educational system, there has been a shift in character morally and ethically affecting the academic and social production over the past 60-plus years. In 1788, the Constitution was erected. The original Constitution, however, had no mention of religious protections. Protection of freedom of religion was not identified until James Madison addressed the issue in 1791 and brought about the First Amendment. James Madison feared factions of interest within the government and how that would overpower and in essence discriminate against the individual citizen. Thus the First Amendment was erected. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Fast forward 150 years, we see a change towards religion within the nation. In 1947, McCollum v. Board of Education, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of McCollum, banning any instruction of clergy in the school systems. In 1962, Engel v. Vitale, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Engel, removing prayer from schools. And in 1963, Abington School District v. Schempp, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Schempp, banning the reading of the Bible in public school systems. This ruling also overturned the ban on teaching evolution in public school curriculum. It has now been 60-plus years since the first removal of religion from our public school system. Within those 60 years, some unsettling statistics have arisen. Since 1952, SAT and ACT scores have been in slow decline. The U.S. Department of Education witnessed a decline in attendance from a survey conducted from 1960 to 1981. Since 1970, there has been a decreased enrollment of elementary students in public school education, but a slight increase in enrollment in private schools, including homeschooling. In 2000, World Psychiatry ranked the U.S. second for suicide on a global scale. Overall suicide statistics for ages 15 to 19 in the U.S. have been steadily increasing since 1965. From 2007 to 2014, suicide deaths doubled for middle school-aged children. Reported abortion and miscarriages for women ages 15 to 44 have increased exponentially. From 1948 to 2017, in a report conducted by Johnson Archives, the CDC reported an increasing amount of contraceptive use for women ages 15 to 44. Statistically showing a steady incline of use before wedlock. And since 1996, public support for homosexuality and same-sex marriage has increased. Martin Luther King Jr. is quoted once again saying, "The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education." If King is correct and the goal of education is to instruct the mind to think critically and develop character, then the evidence of these previously mentioned statistics displays an educational system completely devoid of hope and purpose. Romans 1 depicts the exact condition that our nation's educational system currently finds itself. If one will read through Romans 1, it details what will happen if God, faith, religion, etc. is removed from the equation. From this passage, we can see that when people reject God, He allows them to suffer the consequences of their sin, and we are left inexcusable. So how does one fix this problem? From the beginning of creation, God has imprinted himself on his creation. When that was removed from the educational system, the standard for which to base all morality and ethics was removed with it, creating an unstable system that was doomed to the destruction of itself. So the steps to reintegrate should happen by reintegrating freedom of faith back into the educational system. We need to recognize that there is a problem, and each individual is part of that problem. We need to repeatedly raise awareness of the problem and support that awareness through statistical evidence. And we need to have the courage to step forth and actively combat the problem with truth. By challenging the status quo of the constitutionally acclaimed stance on religion, we can change the dictates of the Constitution that have been changed since the beginning of the United States. And by stepping out as leaders of truth in a generation where truth is considered irrelevant, we can realign our lives back on truth. Johnson 2015 says, by building strong ethical character, we go on the offensive, replacing or managing our unhealthy motivations through the development of positive leadership traits or qualities called virtues. So let's go on the defensive. This presentation merely scratches the surface. Dig deeper into this problem and step out in courage with what you find. Thank you for listening, and God bless.